Oh, thank you. That was what we needed. And after this meeting tonight or tomorrow, I upload them to YouTube. So I want you just to be mindful that what happens in this meeting goes on YouTube. Hopefully not forever, but for now. So, all right. The second thing I want to say about the meeting today, we have been asked if we can end the meeting by 4:15, which is 15 minutes earlier than usual. There's another event in here starting at 5 and they need to set up the room. I don't think it'll be a problem because there's not that many things on the agenda for this meeting. But just so you know, welcome Elizabeth. So you know, if I seem to be rushing at some point, it's because we're gonna end today at 4:15. If we end earlier, hooray! But I'll only keep you as long as it takes. So, but so you know, that's coming too. Next, approval of the agenda. Are there any objections to the agenda you received by email? If you had a chance to review it. All right, hearing no objections, the agenda is approved. Then any corrections to the minutes for the January 8th meeting? I know there was one correction from Thomas. He was listed as a non-voting member when he was actually a voting member. I believe that our secretary Jill, who is adding on her way, rushing from an engagement at John Jay and will be here soon. Jeannie's helping me with attendance because of that. So I know she received that correction. Are there any other corrections to the minutes from the January 8th meeting? All right, hearing none. With that correction, the draft minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is the curriculum committee consent calendar items from January 23rd, 2025. You received those. It's one item. You received it by email. Your instructions are to review that. And if you have any questions or concerns, to email them to me and to curriculum committee chair Priyanka 72 hours before this meeting. So now it's too late, but that, and we do a roll call vote and Jill, who handles it masterfully, is not here. Jeannie is filling in. Are you able to? There we go.
Okay.
We're doing everything from one laptop right now, so it's gonna be okay. And we're having mercy on me, right? Are you out? You know, all right, hold on just a minute before you start. Oh, yeah. Our parliamentarian Erica, who is also unable to be here today, has sent me some language for handling this, which is super helpful. So we need a motion to approve the, to approve the curriculum consent calendar items from January 23rd, 2025. Is there anyone who will make that motion? Abdul, a second.
Make a motion to approve the curriculum committee consent calendar items from January 23rd.
Bravo. Second, Jeannie, second. And no one is taking minutes, right? Would someone just would you just like to make a few quick notes about who moved and who took minutes?
Christy, she has the recording.
She has the recording, I know, but yeah, it's just so we have it a little bit down. Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Leslie. Is there any discussion? Then we are ready for a vote. The vote, all those in favor will say aye. If you are opposed, you say no. And that is how the voting works. This is a roll call vote. So when you hear your name, it's your time to say aye or no. And this is for
extension.
You can say present is an abstention. That's what my notes said. If there are any abstentions, if you don't want to vote, you can say present instead. According to my parliamentarian's notes that she was already.
And we're not doing attendance as a separate.
We're not doing attendance. So the attendance is what you're keeping in the document, and Jill will step in when she gets here. Hello, John. So now is the roll call vote for the curriculum committee consent calendar items.
So I'd like to start with an apology. I don't know whose name I'm gonna mess up. Right, so sorry, Anthony. Yay, aye.
Aye.
It's also not my computer, so where's your backup?
It's my back, but. I think here. Is that what you're looking for?
And when get rid of this.
Okay.
Fill in with yeah. Olin? Lou?
That was it.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Got it.
Douglas?
Douglas, vote for curriculum, I.
Albert?
Aye.
Abdul?
Aye.
Naomi? Sada? Jeannie? Aye. Leslie?
Aye.
Every second.
Sarah.
No. Park, K-A-U, Park, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's.
You're taking the big job for us.
Slowly and surely, Elizabeth.
Aye.
Annette?
Aye.
Denise is not here, so
Denise-
Regine is.
Both of them are on Zoom.
Okay,
I'm
so then.
online. Yes,
Sunny's vote,
yes,
it's an aye.
Okay,
Thank you, Denise.
no problem.
Miguel?
Aye.
Giovanni?
Aye.
Christie?
I come later.
But you're down as English, but okay.
She got the last one.
John?
Aye.
Lisa? Lisa Flores? Tara? Patricia?
No, here, Jamie is here in her place.
Jamie?
Alternate, yeah, so aye.
Elizabeth, so Alex votes because she's in person, right? Elizabeth's online?
Yes, Alex votes, but Liz the senator is online, but yes,
Right, so
Yep.
Alex votes, okay.
that I think was an aye. Was that an aye?
That was it.
Yeah, it's not here.
Oh,
Aye,
aye.
you got it.
Lakshmi? Lakshmi?
Lakshmi's not here.
Okay. So then it's Sandra. No.
Sandra's not here.
Okay, Roman? Margaret?
Aye.
There's not that one. Amy? England?
Hello, yes, aye. Yeah.
John, the SGA president.
Not here.
Okay. Jill's not here. Charlene? Oh, no,
Darlene's not here.
yeah. Lottie? MEHE.
Aye.
Mahedi, yep.
Mahat. Sonan? SONA.
Not
Not here.
here.
Didn't?
Diton is not here, Sophia's not here, Lindsay is not here, Jonathan is not here, Susan is not here, Jolly is here. And Kelly's here.
I can see.
Yeah. And Athena, Athena's not here.
Abu,
Abu is not here.
then John gets the alternates.
Johnson, yeah, they're not here. also.
Okay, okay,
And now it's mine.
right.
Oh, Ritz is here
What's
for Erica.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I got it. So Ritz is a yes vote and,
Easy math.
and I'm a yes.
All right.
Aye.
Right.
All right. So, the curriculum consent calendar is approved. And, let's hear it for Jeannie. I think she deserves it. Taking that on, and Jill is desperately trying to get here, and will be here shortly, but is still on the way. So, all right. Moving ahead on the agenda, and thank you, Priyanka, for your work, with the curriculum committee. There, let's see, there is, no, I'll look over here. The next item on the agenda is the 2025-2026 academic calendar. And yes, we did have 20 votes, Leslie, we have more than that number of senators in attendance today. We might be at 21 or 22 at this point. So, you all received the, draft academic calendar in, by email. Before we have a motion to approve it, this is context discussion. This is not debate discussion. So I want to have some context discussion. And I'm not even going to look at the parliamentarian on the screen to check her permission, but we're going to do some context discussion because the chair of the Academic Standing Committee, Katrina, is here with us. There was a lot of back and forth leading up to the calendar that you have in front of you. So I'd like her to give a little bit of that context.
Okay, so yes, we went back and worked with the calendar. I would say the thing that we would like to flag, that the committee would like to flag, was that we couldn't get any reading days into the calendar. The registrar did a wonderful job working with us to try, but we couldn't actually shift dates, so they can't be moved. You can't modify or final dates or replace them with the reading dates, since they're determined by the central office. So they had to remain as scheduled, and we couldn't put that in, but we wanted to flag it and just draw it to everyone's attention. Hopes that it's not a precedent, that there will be no further dates. That was it. Perhaps academic year 26, 27. It's the most pressing one. We did add some items at the end to kind of clarify things like how includes versus the classes schedule, et cetera. And there will be things that will be updated once we have the final dates from the central office.
That's some background and just to recap, there are no reading days in the calendar for academic year 2025 to 2026. LaGuardia is concerned about that, but it was not changeable. Abdul, thank you for your work as registrar on trying to address that issue. So, so we need a motion to approve the academic calendar for 2025-2026. Alex? I move to approve. Okay. A second, Anthony, seconded. And so now any other discussion? Anthony,
Just on the topic of the reading day, I mean, I understand we really didn't have any control over it. I know there've been some years like this year where like some semesters we have it, some we don't. I would just like to go on record asking to try to have that in the future consistently, because it's very confusing when some semesters have it, some don't. I'm sure it's confusing for the students. I know it's confusing in a staff role. Like I usually don't let people get finals, you know, we don't give them out until reading day. So some semesters, some people get it on their first day of finals, some people they get it on reading, you know, like, so there's no consistency there, and it really, it's been an issue. Minor issue, but you know, and then when I see that this year that there's none, I was like, wait a minute, you know, so I understand the explanation, but yes, I don't wanna go back to none, I'd like to go the other direction and hopefully have that consistently next year.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, Luke,
Quick question, and I'm sure this was verified and checked. You can tell me if I'm missing anything. I'm trying to wrap my head around just that first page that shows fall one. So there's no indication of when weekend classes begin, Saturday and Sunday. It lists the first day of class beginning Tuesday, September 9th. So I would assume that the first Saturday and Sunday class happens at the end of that week. Yet at the end of fall one, the last day of Saturday classes, last day of Sunday classes occur before the last day of weekday classes on December 12th. So I don't know if that means,
We usually do indicate.
Right.
The first day.
you can respond to that,
I can
registrar
answer
would
that
like to
question.
respond to that.
So, the way, we put all the days into a grid to determine the weeks of instructions are 12 weeks and 6 weeks. So we made sure that even though at the end, the days may seem off, but altogether is 12 weeks of instruction in session 1 and 6 weeks of instruction in session 2. So if you put it on a grid, and I can share, it adds
Still
up.
consistent.
okay, then I would suggest if you put the last day of last day of Sunday classes, that you also include the first day,
The-
even if it's after the first day of classes on September 9th.
We can add that. That's not a,
Uh,
that could be an informational update in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
revisions.
Yeah, and I think your goal is to try to make it a little more streamlined and not include what's not what should be, or what's not necessary, but if it causes confusion, then. Okay. Is there any other discussion about the calendar? All right, this, we can do by voice vote so that Jeannie doesn't have to go through that again. So hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving the draft 2025-2026 academic calendar, say aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? All right, so the calendar is approved. Jill, we missed you. Welcome. We missed you. Let's
Just kidding. Okay.
Let's get her a chair. Come here, all right. Just, you want, you can. All right. You're welcome. The next item on the agenda is the approval of, wrong paper. The approval of, the academic integrity policy. As a word of context there. The academic standing committee, in consultation with the academic integrity committee and the, chief academic integrity officer, both entities that have gone through Senate, have agreed to, that their recommendation is that we adopt the CUNY academic integrity policy as it is. Okay, and there was a link to that policy included in the Senate email. Is there any other context that we need, Katrina, regarding that?
Yeah, just to give context, everyone, okay, few points, this committee sought feedback and the reiteration. About departmental concerns regarding the current academic integrity policy, and the concerns focused on lack of guidance on generative AI, both of which were included in the CUNY's current policy. The academic standing committee met with Vice President King, Chief Academic Integrity Officer Tamika Battle, as well as followed up with the chair of the academic integrity committee, Jason Schaefer. And their recommendation is to replace LaGuardia's current academic integrity policy with recent CUNY policy on academic integrity. As was on the battle, CUNY provides policies for artificial intelligence and AI and systems in section 1.1 and 1.2. And it's the practice of many CUNY colleges to adopt students. Academic standing committee received no feedback that suggested a benefit of applying more restricted academic integrity policy. The current LaGuardia policy was revised to make it, the one that we have now was originally revised to make it more understandable to students. However, the academic standing committee, including SGA Student Government Association representative, received no feedback and suggested modifications to the community policy that we're proposing would make the policy more sustainable for students. And community policy was discussed that is approved by CUNY, as well as widely shared in communications, helping students, the word and active staff in the work.
Thank you, Katrina. So we now need a motion. And then we can have, after we have a motion and a second, then we can have any discussion. And in that discussion, if you want to follow up on, we have any questions about what Katrina has said, that would be a time for it as well. So the motion is, do you want to make the motion? You say, I move that we approve the proposed academic integrity policy. Will someone make that motion? Margaret?
I propose that we
Move.
move the academic integrity policy.
Okay, and a second?
I'll say.
I saw Elizabeth's hand, so Margaret made them, moved and Elizabeth seconded. Is there any discussion on the proposed academic integrity policy? Luke?
So I have a couple of questions that are probably best directed to Tamika, who I see on the screen.
Yep.
Hi,
Tamika's on
Tamika.
screen.
The academic integrity policy of LaGuardia will mirror CUNY's academic integrity policy, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the CUNY's policy does not prescribe that students meet with the chair of the department in question subsequent to meeting with the instructor who makes the accusation or files a complaint form. But the academic integrity complaint form appears to require that be a part of the process when the student challenges the accusation. How does that align with CUNY's policy? Or is it an option for faculty and for students to meet with the chair, you know, beyond meeting with the instructor about the allegation itself?
So the policy is very broad. I think what you're referring to is procedures. And so I think the overall intent is the faculty that is bringing the particular allegation to the student should meet with the student first. And just as any interaction with faculty, right, students do have the right after meeting with the faculty and if they feel that their issue has not been resolved, or maybe they want to meet with the chair, they can do so as well. So it's following the practice that we've had in terms of student interaction with faculty. If the students, and so then we add another layer as part of the academic integrity process, that if the student, after meeting with the department chair, wants to meet with the academic integrity officer, they can do so as well. Again, this is all done in good faith so that we can allow due process for students. And again, the policy speaks about the different sections, the different, the different types of academic dishonesty. I think more what you're speaking on is practice and procedural, and it does differ from college to college. Like for example, at Hunter, the faculty reaches out to the conduct officer. The conduct officer then reaches out to the students. Hey, I received, an academic integrity complaint from your professor, and they deal with the conduct officer. So it does vary from campus to campus. I hope I answered your question.
Tamika, and I am gonna say, so Leslie, our alternate parliamentarian, has her hand up and a comment in the chat. Leslie, you want to speak to this?
Sure. This is actually not germane to the discussion because it is procedural. It's beyond the scope of the Senate's responsibility. So it has to be about policy, and you need to speak either in favor of the motion or not in favor of the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, parliamentarian, for that reminder. Anthony.
Well, I'm not sure if this is covered by that, but I'll say it anyway. when the vice president was here a couple of meetings ago, I had asked a question about, in the case of the form and this procedure in general, I mean, if a student is accused of something, who is gonna sit down with them and help them fill out the form? Who's gonna be their legal, person? They're a lawyer for,
That's
'cause
implementation.
person to be able to say, this is what you're accused of, this is what you're signing, this is, and the vice president said, yeah, we'll look into that.
That's not
So-
your main point of order.
So I am going, thank you, Leslie. The question, Tamika and Katrina, work on that later. It is an implementation question and it matters. And now you've heard it, so it's worth addressing. You could follow up with Anthony, or just know that Anthony's raised a question and Luke has raised a question that are legitimate questions, but not germane to the Senate question.
But
right
also
now.
that it was asked before, and it hasn't really been. It doesn't
hasn't
seem
been
that it's
answered.
addressed.
Okay. Thank you for raising it. Is there any discussion for or against the motion on the floor, which is to approve adoption of the CUNY academic integrity policy here at LaGuardia?
Madam Chair, may I
again-
speak?
Yes,
Thank you. I just wanted to speak in favor of the motion, remembering that there's been much due diligence done by the Senate subcommittees, and they have brought to us a policy that is in line with CUNY, and I believe that we should vote in favor of it. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Senator Sakamaka, who is also our alternate parliamentarian. Any other discussion? Anthony,
Just to speak against it, I mean, I just personally, I mean, since issues were raised before and they weren't addressed, I don't think we're ready. So I would vote against it right now.
okay. Any other discussion? So, keeping in mind, Anthony is voting against, but based on a matter of implementation that's not defined in the policy, that is actually not germane to the Senate. So, that implementation question can be addressed, but it is not on topic for the Senate question now. Luke,
Again, I'm not sure if this falls within the guidelines of the discussion. But if the motion carries, would this be implemented immediately? And if that's the case, how is the policy change? How would the policy change impact what has been happening? And would students within the same semester be subject to different policies because the change
so.
now the motion carries?
So the question is, if the motion carries and the policy is approved,
Yep.
will there be a change in students' experience with the academic integrity at LaGuardia because of this approval? Is that a question you could answer, Tamika?
So this policy, my understanding of it, even when the working group on student conduct and academic integrity, this policy is from 2022. And so it is a revised policy that has been in place. And as far as my knowledge and what I understand is that CUNY policies, they're approved before the Board of Trustees, before ratification. So again, my recommendation is not to make any changes to it, but this policy, I do want to note that this is not a brand new policy, that it was more recent, like in a few months. This policy has been revised since 2022.
So the question.
And I do want to say, and the flow chart and everything that we have in faculty resources have been based off of this current policy, not a previous policy.
So it sounds that there will not be impact to students because of approving this policy today. It's already, so this is more of a formal adoption, official adoption of the CUNY policy.
But just for clarification, I mean, when we approve like our governance plan, all these things that we're saying, usually we say like, well, they're gonna take effect next semester or next, something we approve today cannot possibly take effect right this semester, because yeah, the semester started. We've had something happen, and now we're in the middle of a semester. We can't possibly start taking different actions in a semester. Correct? It's.
No, I mean, in theory, yes, but that assumes that we know what's been done before. And again, we're converging or conflating the question of policy and implementation, which we should not conflate. I'm not convinced, and I don't know, Tamika, if you know if the policy we have been operating under to this point is different than this CUNY policy. The practice around academic integrity had kind of fallen apart at LaGuardia with loss of staff who oversaw, I mean, who was the focus of that. And it was getting adapted by our VP, McLean, and operated out of her office. And this is more formalizing, her attempts to bring us in line with CUNY.
And
Is
so
that-
I would also just say, based off of my conversation with Katerina, is that the current policy was revised to, in terms of language. I don't think that, or at least my understanding was that it was not a different policy. It was taking bits and pieces out of the policy so that was more user-friendly for students. As far as I am aware, is that the policy was not, I think Katerina said maybe it was revised, but based off of what I see on the website, the information that's there, it's something that is still current in the policy.
The information on the LaGuardia website or the CUNY website?
On the
LaGuardia?
LaGuardia website.
Okay, so we don't expect this to make changes at LaGuardia. Implementation is another question. Okay, and that is a question that's not our purview right now. Right now, we're just formally adopting the CUNY policy on academic integrity. There, obviously, for those of you, there was some debate and the Senate discussed whether this even needed to come to Senate or if it was just an informational item that we are formally approving or that we are operating according to the CUNY policy. We chose to bring it to Senate just to make it formalized in this way. But I believe that this is how the college has been operating recently, at least in the last few years.
So we are following the CUNY policy. This will not, the vote will not change how
The
the policy impacts the work that
The work
the
that's being
academic
done.
integrity officer and the committee
Yeah,
does. But we don't know what's been happening, and we don't know how this might change what will happen.
I would say that let me just answer that. So I think that the working group, looking at, we were on the same committee that we worked a whole year to sort of formalize this process, because based off of our assessment, different things were happening in different places and spaces. And so it needed to be formalized, and the flow chart that was presented to Senate and presented as it is on the faculty resource, on the portal under resources. Again, a flow chart just gives you almost like a blueprint or pathway. It doesn't take into consideration every scenario. Every scenario is going to definitely be different. However, it is the goal of the Academic Integrity Committee to follow the policy as it is. And I would hope that in some shape or form prior to the working group that the policy was being followed. I don't have that history, I don't have that context, but I know that it's being followed now.
were you, Luke, speaking for or against the motion?
I was speaking against the motion, just for further clarification.
Okay,
I just wanted to get a sense of the kind of before and after.
what, if there might be a change
Right.
in, the impact on students?
The impact of the vote if the motion carries. Those were my questions.
So, and it seems that the answer is unlikely. Will there be an impact on students if this motion carries? Because this is at the policy level, not the implementation level. That's
Correct.
my understanding. All right, any other discussion for or against the motion? All right, then I think we're going to vote on the motion. I'm going to ask for a voice vote. So all in favor of approving the CUNY's academic integrity policy as the policy of LaGuardia, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Any, and so, and there were three nays and more ayes, and any abstentions would say present, but we don't need to, I don't think we should do that. The motion carries, I believe, right? All right. Thank you for your questions and your thoughts. We can work to answer those questions outside of the Senate meeting. And make sure that it's clear for everyone.
Can I ask a question? So
Yes,
the implementation will be under academic standing committee or in the VP's office?
Katrina, yeah, there is an academic integrity committee that does not oversee implementation. It just handles an aspect of implementation. Tamika, who is over the implementation of the policy?
So the Chief Academic Integrity Officer provides
Which
the
is
guidance
you.
and follows the policy. Everything that's listed in the policy and how cases are referred to the Academic Integrity Committee. Just as a point of note that the Chief Academic Integrity Officer is not part of the Academic Integrity Committee. It is a non, I would say, biased person that meets with students, meets with faculty, supports students in understanding their due process, supports faculty and academic freedom to make a complaint if they feel that they need to make a complaint. So again, I'm a neutral party in it, and all matters relating to academic integrity, where the students are opting to meet with the committee members, have the choice to do so, and I make that recommendation or that referral to the Academic Integrity Committee.
All right, thank you, Tamika.
They render their decision and I take the decision, so it's a back and forth. But if anyone has any questions, because I did hear that there were questions that were not answered, I had not received any, so I can put it in the chat, but it is definitely on the most recent academic integrity complaint form. It is an academic integrity email. It's LAGC academic, no, it's LAG academic at cuny.edu, something like that. I'll put it in the chat. It's a new email. We just got it.
There's a new email. Send questions to Dr. Battle. The Academic Standing Committee does not oversee the Academic Integrity Committee, which is an implementation arm. It does oversee policy. So Academic Standing Committee is the one that develops and oversees the policy and could revise the policy, practice questions, talk to, we need to unlock that door or make sure it doesn't quite close. Okay. Next on the agenda is my chair's report. I am happy to announce that Odin Wright is the new senator for adjunct faculty, and Abu Bokar Siddiq, who's not here today, is the new senator for students. Both were in the alternate role, and those senate roles became vacant, so we have the executive committee has moved those positions to a full senator. There is, we'll hear, I'll wait on that one, never mind. Another item that I want you to be aware of, the Student Affairs has created a new committee called the SAFE Committee. And alternate Senator Regina is on that committee. And could you say a little bit, Regina, about the function of that committee, the purpose?
Sorry about that, I was muted. So the SAFE committee, which is called, I'm just going to get the name up, because sometimes I have to remember it myself. It's the Student Advocacy via Frontline Efforts Committee. The purpose of the committee is to help bring about community and to effectuate different responses from faculty, staff, and students to the current socio-political matters that really are impacting our student body, and primarily, immigration, transgender rights, and anything else that might come up, especially in our current political environment. So the primary goal of the committee is to help facilitate programming and different informational events, campaigns that support a number of student groups here on campus. The committee is led by VP McLean. There are about 14 members on the committee, including myself, and from across campus representing different areas. And it's a very well diverse committee. We met yesterday. Right now, one big push that we are having is that we're asking for everybody, if you have not signed up, to sign up for the upcoming event on February 19th, this coming Wednesday, the What's, Who's, and How Supporting Undocumented Immigrant Students. It has been moved to the main stage theater because it was a large amount of interest in this program. So that is a venue change. So there's definitely a lot of room to be able to hold everybody. So please sign up. Please have your, staff, colleagues also come as well. I will put the flyer in the chat with the QR code where you can sign up for it. But there will be different events, other planned events that we will be announcing periodically. And definitely to really bring about, a group to effectuate this social political change, to provide support to students, and to really just let them know students, faculty, and staff the resources that are here on campus, for anybody who might need support. Any questions at all?
Yeah, Jeannie?
No, I always have a question. So how, are you guys working with the union? Has a little subcommittee, not little, the union has a subcommittee to work on the same issues. Are you guys coordinating your efforts?
That is a good question. I'm going to ask. We had our very first meeting yesterday about this, so I will reach out to the VP and find out. But that's a good question. Thanks, Jeannie.
Any other questions?
One other thing, just on the union activists list, people
Mhm.
were saying that they had trouble when they used the link that was on that email chain.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
telling it was full. Is that problem been
And
resolved?
that's been resolved, yeah, because originally it was in E242 and it has since been moved to the main stage theater because pretty much we've had a very large response rate to the event.
Yeah, so that event again is on the 19th of this month. And that committee, the SAFE committee, again, the Student Advocacy via Frontline Efforts Committee is now meeting, includes some students, some SGA students. It includes a faculty member, it includes some people from across the staff and the Wellness Center. So, what time is the meeting?
It's at 2:30,
oh,
from 2:30 to 4:30.
The meeting on the 19th. Yeah.
I'll put a flyer in the chat, so then you have
Put a
it for the
flyer in the
records.
chat. I'll put the chat on the screen eventually once it's there, if you want to access it. There've been some emails about it as well. LaGuardia has advocated to get a Citizenship Now office on our campus. We have Citizenship Now is a city organization that advocates for and supports legal advice, and I'm not sure what all for citizenship. Now 2 Wednesdays a month, starting on the 19th of this month, there will be a Citizenship Now office at LaGuardia. Not every day, not all the time, but 2 Wednesdays a month, they'll be on campus.
When will they be located?
I don't know. So I'm not sure. And it is by appointment only. It is available to the community as well if they're, but LaGuardia students will get priority for the LaGuardia location. There's numerous other locations around the city. I looked at where those locations were and none were very convenient for us. So it's great to know that they will also be here. The last thing I want to mention, and I will do my best to share my screen to show you, is that as of Friday, on the LaGuardia website is a new icon here. Here's the LaGuardia website. It's a Know Your Rights icon, a new section that's been added that is a link that takes you to a bunch of other links about citizenship and advocacy and immigrant status, all that kind of stuff is now all there with a big icon on the homepage. And they're using this hands raised icon and this image to mark this effort. So that image is gonna show up consistently. If you see it, know that this is, it's now on the website with lots of resources related to immigrant rights. And that is the last item on my, in the chair's report. And hold on, let me stop sharing the screen. And I will, just a moment, I'll share the screen again with this, document in it. Maybe that's the best way. Yeah. We'll try this. Also, the email address for for academic integrity is academicintegrity@lagcc.cuny.edu. Let's see. And here is the flyer for the Wednesday, February 19th for that event. I don't see a QR code here, but you can get more information from Dr. Alexis McLean.
Let me see if I can find it. My apologies.
No problem.
I think there'll be sorry if I can interrupt.
Yeah.
In today's campus update, there'll be an item on this with a link where you
Great.
can reserve a.
That might be the easiest way. So watch for today's campus update for a link about that.
Yeah.
About that meeting. All right, any other questions about those things? Good, so you can see there's a lot of work happening at LaGuardia to try to address these situations. A lot of attention being paid also to the funding questions in the research, all kinds of things that everyone is trying to pay attention, and President Adams is as well. So, all right, committee reports. Let me explain, and we are doing so well on time, but let me say, not every committee needs to have a report, but if you have a report, you are invited to give your report. And so I will run briefly through the list, but it is very fine to have no report if that applies to you. So, committee on committees. Elizabeth, do you have a report?
Yes, as I mentioned to you in the bathroom.
Yeah, you're
We
right.
had one faculty member that was going to join the academic integrity committee declined, so we're looking for a new committee member.
And it's a faculty member?
A new
A
faculty
new
member. to
faculty
join.
member who's able to join the academic
Yes.
integrity committee, so contact Elizabeth if you are interested. The academic standing committee, is there anything more? You've done plenty. Thank you so much, Katrina. Committee on campus affairs.
We met yesterday and we did further talk more about, get more feedback about the First Amendment auditor issues, the visitors policy and the role usage. So we're getting close to finalizing all of that. Our next meeting will be March 11th.
So March 11th, the next meeting of the Committee on Campus Affairs, who are engaged with the issue of videoing on campus, the First Amendment auditors, and the turnstiles and access that we had a report on last time. If you have heard feedback from your constituents or pass that along to Anthony and Evelyn Lomark, you can CC me on that too. So I'm aware of the discussion, just so I can do my part with making sure that those views are heard by the administration. Thank you, Anthony. Let's see, Committee on Professional Development. Derek, you're here.
I'm here. Good afternoon, everybody. Not much to report at this time from the subcommittees, except that we will have the Uma Chowdhury colloquium later this spring. So please look for email announcements about that. We don't have a date for it yet, but we will send out a call for the colloquia probably at some time at the beginning of spring.
Great. Thank you, Derek. Committee of Staff and Alumni, Karam, is there any report?
Yes, I emailed you with the report. We received some of the feedbacks from the members and they need to your feedback if we need to discuss it. I'm planning to schedule something the next week or so.
Okay, so the feedback that the committee sent is regarding the staff awards program, which we're still working we're formalizing a staff awards program. The faculty awards program is also in process. It is now with, BP, or Provost, Billy. And waiting for she's reviewing it and how we implement that, program. Which reminds me, I should have included in my chair's report that, tomorrow is a meeting of the Governance Leaders Council with President Adams. So that is the, President of Faculty Council, John Toland, the SGA president, the chair of the Chairs Council, who's Vera Albrecht, one of the academic department chairs, the chair of the newly formed ACE Council, and, or maybe not a chair, but the representative of the newly formed, the Adult and Continuing Ed Division has its own council now. And then we have a representative of the staff while we're still working on formally forming a staff council that will parallel faculty council. So those people, including myself, meet on Zoom tomorrow with President Adams to talk about the concerns of each of the bodies that we represent. Committee of Students, I believe Jolly has a report.
So I would like to provide an update on the ongoing work for the student committee. So the first period we have met and got some significant suggestions from the chairperson trustee. And the second, we have identified a mentor, the Senator Luke Carlisle, to provide guidance and support. And third one, based on the student feedback, we have developed a wish list and to reflect student concerns and some key priorities. And the last one, we are currently reviewing and working for the next step on the wish list. Yeah, thank you.
Great, and thanks to Luke Carlisle for volunteering to serve as a mentor to the committee of students and assisting them in taking action on the items on their wish list. So thank you, Jolly and Mahedi. Let's see. Transfer committee, I don't see anyone. Food and security, IT advisory committee, any updates, Jamie?
Just a reminder that in spring, starting this spring, each department will start offering trainings on Brightspace. You should have about 10 trainings or training sessions offered per department by your Brightspace liaison.
Great, so we look forward, Brightspace becomes active for LaGuardia in the fall of this year. So, and at that point, Upward will no longer be active, or will there be a little transition?
I'm not positive on that. I think it will be inactive. But there's the transition period is only this spring and summer is my recollection, but I will confirm that.
Yeah.
So there will be overlap for a period where you can transfer courses. And again, 2 years of courses will be transferred automatically. But there's a period of overlap, I think in the fall, Blackwood is continued officially. But
Great, that sounds right to me too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jamie. And yeah, Anthony.
Does that mean like those trainings and stuff, like will that also be transferred to Brightspace now instead of Blackboard? Like the workplace violence, all that stuff, will that be in that as well?
I believe so, that'll be the new home. Everything will pretty much transfer over because those would be new organizations in Brightspace.
Okay, and if anyone wants the QR code for the February 19th supporting our immigrant students event, there it is. Thank you, Regina, for tracking that down. And then I believe that is the end of, Senate Assessment and Review Committee. Leslie, do you have any report?
Nothing for the Senate to take action on.
Okay. And then that is the end of committee reports, and there's no unfinished business. Is there any new business? I hear no new business. I'm gonna, because we have a minute, I'm gonna tell you what to look forward to at our March meeting. which will be a little fuller than our February meeting.
Oh, my mom, that it's only 3:15.
It's only 2:15. I know, I'm feeling a little insecure. Like, what did we forget? Should we be doing more? We should, yeah.
Enjoy the afternoon.
We can enjoy the afternoon. In March, the plan is that we're gonna have, Vice President Ben Roden, talk to us about course scheduling and what's going on in enrollment management, handles that. I have confirmed for sure that Vice President Alexis McLean will be coming to give a report on student affairs and all the work that's happening there. So those reports are scheduled for the March meeting. There's more already on the calendar for April and May. President Adams is planning to come give us some updates at the April meeting. Make sure come to opening sessions for the spring semester. I've been informed that President Adams will be giving an update report on the state of the strategic plan at that point. It's coming together as far as I know. So that's important coming up there too. And what I recommend for your extra hour is take a little time and enjoy some cookies and coffee and talk to people, because we're here in person together. Get to know somebody you haven't met before. Feel free to hang out. We have this room for a whole hour or more. So, and I am now going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for attending in person or online. Be well, be warm and safe, everyone. Stop right. The meeting is adjourned.
You can take on. I was so fast.
No, it's gonna be a fun time. So wait.
Stay for 10 minutes, then I have to go do that silly work thing that I do all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the grading and